All right, let's talk about what's happening in Taiwan. Search and rescue operations are underway there after the strongest earthquake the island has seen in 25 years. At least 9 people are dead, hundreds injured, and dozens trapped under destroyed buildings. The 7.4 magnitude quake shook the island's east coast during the morning rush hour. MTS Taib is following all of this for us.
Parts of a building crashed to the ground as people across Taiwan were getting ready for the morning rush. Inside cafes and bars, destruction. Panicking patrons as the 7.4 magnitude earthquake rocked the island nation. The force of the quake was so powerful, some buildings tipped onto their sides as some of the smallest survivors were carefully rescued. Things just started to fall off the building, this woman says. Everything's damaged. In the eastern coastal Hualien City, rescue workers had to use cranes to free people stuck inside damaged buildings.
It was definitely a shock when it happened.
Yoli Saban from California had arrived in Taiwan just yesterday.
We were actually sleeping, and we were definitely woken up by it because the whole room was shaking. We tried to find somewhere to hide under a table, but we didn't have that.
But it's the countryside which saw some of the worst damage. The force of the quake triggered serious landslides, blocking some tunnels, trapping dozens inside. But in Taiwan, earthquakes are common, and the initial panic quickly faded as the public were kept informed via cell phone messages, and school drills saw some children put on protective head coverings as they waited for the all clear. Now, this is the most serious earthquake to hit Taiwan since 1999, when over 2,400 people were killed, 100,000 injured, and hundreds of buildings were destroyed. And while this quake hasn't caused anywhere near that kind of devastation, it has certainly caused an awful lot of alarm. Anne-Marie.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually really surprised to see some of those buildings tipping but not collapsing completely. How prepared was Taiwan for, I mean, this is an earthquake I presume you can't really prepare for, but how prepared are they for earthquakes?
You know, Emery, that's a really good question, and we need to make it clear that Taiwan is no stranger to powerful earthquakes, yet their toll on the island's 23 million residents has been relatively contained thanks to its excellent earthquake preparedness. Now, Taiwan lies along the Pacific Ring of Fire. Now, this is a line of seismic faults encircling the Pacific Ocean where most of the world's earthquakes occur. And so, because of that, the Taiwanese government continually revises the level of earthquake resistance required of new and existing buildings. Now, this, of course, increases construction costs, but it also, as a government and as a nation, subsidizes residents who are willing to check their buildings' earthquake resistance and preparedness. Now, Taiwan also pushes earthquake drills at workplaces and schools, as we saw in my report, while in the media and on cell phones, they regularly carry notices about earthquake and earthquake safety, all of which seems to have helped limit the damage and the casualties in this quake. Anne-Marie.
All right, MTS, thank you so much.
At this moment, search and rescue efforts are underway in Taiwan from the most powerful earthquake the island has seen in 25 years. As you can see, the damage there is severe. Several buildings tilted to the side, many collapsed.
Yeah, at least 9 people are already confirmed to be dead. The tremors injured hundreds more. The 7.4 magnitude quake hit during the morning rush hour on the eastern part of the island. Dozens remain trapped in buildings and quarries as a result of the damage.
CBS News foreign correspondent MTS Taib joins us now from London with the latest on this. MTS, those images are quite shocking. This could have been much worse considering the magnitude of the quake. But how are the crews navigating these unstable structures and surfaces as they try to rescue people potentially trapped?
Well, Errol, Lana, as you so correctly point out, rescue efforts remain underway following the earthquake that was so powerful some buildings tipped onto their sides. In fact, in the eastern coastal Hualien City, the epicenter of the quake, rescue workers had to use cranes to free people stuck inside damaged buildings. Now, while the island nation of Taiwan may be geographically small, it is home to over 23 million people. And Hualien sits in this sort of mountainous area in the east. And while it's relatively sparsely populated, it has been largely cut off for most of its history. But in recent years, Taiwan has been investing heavily in there. But because of this high mountainous terrain and its obvious beauty, there are people there. We understand that at least 3 hikers on a trail were killed and around 50 workers on their way to a nearby hotel in a convoy of minibuses are now trapped following that earthquake, which, again, as you pointed out, struck at around 7:58 local time and which has so far set off at least 9 aftershocks with a magnitude of 4 or larger. Guys.
MTS, I'm struck seeing these images of the buildings tilted so far on their side. Taiwan has been hit by devastating earthquakes before. Were there particular preparations in place this time around? Are those buildings tilted but not destroyed as a result of anything that was part of a preparation in advance?
Yeah, very good observation. Look, Taiwan is no stranger to powerful earthquakes, and yet their toll on the nation has been relatively contained, and that's thanks to its frankly excellent earthquake preparedness. Taiwan lies along the Pacific so-called Ring of Fire. Now, this is a line of seismic faults encircling the Pacific Ocean where most of the world's earthquakes occur. And so because of that, the Taiwanese government has continually revised the level of earthquake resistance required for new and existing buildings. It also offers subsidies to residents who are willing to check their buildings' sort of earthquake resistance and preparedness. Taiwan also pushes earthquake drills at workplaces and at schools, while the media sends messages and through the cell phone about earthquake safety, all of which seems to have helped limit the damage and casualties following this very powerful earthquake.
And MTS, before we let you go, we understand dozens may be trapped in highway tunnels right now. What more do we know about efforts to retrieve them?
Yeah, guys, very quickly, we understand that tremors set off at least 9 landslides and debris collapsed hillsides into what's known as the Suha Highway in that Hualien area, which runs again down the east coast. Now, according to Taiwan's National Fire Agency, many people are trapped in road tunnels along the Suha Highway, which is considered one of the most dangerous roads in Taiwan. We understand that at least 50 miners are also trapped in a mine. We also hear that rescue teams are working to get those who are trapped in those tunnels out. Now, again, this is the strongest earthquake that Taiwan has seen in 25 years. It also set off tsunami warnings on the island and across neighboring countries. Those have now been called off. But as we've been saying, a lot of people remain trapped in tunnels, in mines, and elsewhere. And we also understand that large parts of the country are still without power.
All right, MTS, thank you. Hearing from people in the U.S. who have family impacted by the earthquake.
That's right, in Taiwan. CBS News Los Angeles' Kara Finstrom is in Monterey Park, California, with more on that.
One of the locals we spoke with is a Taiwanese reporter who's living in the U.S. right now. She happened to be on the phone with her mother when the quake hit.
My mom was so scared. My mom was even crying. And then I told her to hide under the table. My sister actually lived right over there. She was like talking to me just now. And then she was saying that even the highway over there crashed. And she was so shocked. And her kid was in shock too.
Chang shared videos that her family took there, and those and other images continuing to come in show damage for blocks, structures crumbling, and buildings leaning so far over it seems they're going to soon fall. Monterey Park is considered the cultural capital of Taiwanese America, so many locals here and throughout the San Gabriel Valley are watching all of these videos coming in, hoping to see images of the neighborhoods they know. Many of these folks have been having trouble getting in touch with loved ones because of those jammed cell signals. And I can tell you as well that we just spoke this morning with a man who owns a restaurant here. One of his good friends says he will be coming to the U.S. to stay for a while. He is safe, but was so shaken up by all of this, he's worried about aftershocks and the potential for tsunamis.
哎呦，还真的，还好吗？我不想给你拍。有怎样吗？啊？有人救出来或受困吗？一定有啊。靠北。